Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? The Trials and Triumphs. I'm Maureen Edwards, the founder of 8 Simple Steps. And if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm going to share with you why we do this. If you're back for another episode, you know that this is a weekly series where I bring you rock star entrepreneurs every single week so they can showcase how they are making things moving, shaking, happening, and they get to give you some words of wisdom if you are an entrepreneur, starting your own business, building your own business, and even scaling it. So if you're tuning in for the first time, that's what this is all about. No exception tonight. Oh my gosh, this one isn't just a rock star, she's a superstar. So I want everybody to meet Gabi Odebode, right?
Yes. Yes.
She is the CEO, founder, and head chef of Afromeals. And I am proud to say I remember Gabi when she was just starting. And so I knew her before she was famous. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back. So welcome, Gabi. I can't wait to dive into this amazing journey of being an entrepreneur and growing your business at the scale that you have done in a very short period of time, really. Yeah. So I think people are going to be anxious to hear how you have done this. So my first question always is, why are you an entrepreneur? Why did you pursue this? Because I know you had a different background before diving into this. So can you share with everybody, why you're here as an entrepreneur?
Yes, I'm here because of the fact, being an entrepreneur, sometimes people say that, it's so that you don't have to do a 9 to 5, right? But you actually do longer than that. But the caveat to that is that it's on your own time and your own terms. That's one thing I love about it. I was just sharing with you why I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. And as a woman, for me personally, when I started giving birth, I wasn't comfortable leaving my kids to go and pursue a 9 to 5 where I didn't get to see them grow and all of that. So that's one thing that led me to become an entrepreneur. Prior to that, I had no interest in being an entrepreneur because I'm like, I don't want that life. I want the 9 to 5 life. But again, once I gave birth, I realized that I'd rather have my own schedule, even if I'm working at night while everyone is sleeping. It's better because during the day, I get to spend time with my kids.
That is very common. A lot of moms make this decision to say, I want more life balance. I want life on my own terms. Yeah. And so this is a very common way to enter into that. And so, what was the greatest challenge, though, to go from that 9 to 5 and now all of a sudden you're thrown into having to do everything without maybe an income coming in right away? So
yeah,
how did that go?
That was the greatest challenge, but I'm just so grateful. As per the business, I am the co-founder. My husband is the other co-founder. So, and that's because we are such a team. Nothing is done. He literally was the one who dragged me to your office, who set up the time for me to meet up with you because then I didn't know anything, So my biggest challenge was us just foregoing the amount of money that we could have been making if we're both, working full time. He's into IT. I did biology and stuff like that. And to now put that down and say that, we're going to run our own business because he has his own IT business as well, doing really well, successful. And for us to put that down and say we're going to each, we're going to get chicken change and then pursue this was one of the biggest challenges. And yeah.
So besides the fact that you have to take this financial risk, the day-to-day process of building a business, what did you find to be the hardest thing and how did you overcome it?
The hardest thing for me, honestly, is my mind. It was my mindset. Because I had this I'm the type of person where sometimes I can be very closed in on what I know, and I feel like trying to now embark on something different would be difficult. But so once I was able to get over that, get over that mindset, be open-minded, because I think you can't really be an entrepreneur or a business person without having an open mind, because you never know what is going to work, right? I'm laser focused, and that's what in some ways has helped grow the business because I've been able to focus on that. And sometimes also it can be a hindrance because I can be so focused on that
Yeah.
one thing, I'm not able to kind of like look at the side view to see what else can help, and that's where again my co-founder, my husband, comes in, where he helps to open up my mind, like he was like, honey, like let's think about it in this way, so, and not make the business about me and my focus and what I think and all of that. So once I was able to overcome that, learning and relearning new things that has nothing to do with my degree became easier, because now I'm doing like stuff from the food and manufacturing industry, where I'm coming from a biology background, no business background. So I had to get rid of that mindset to be able to learn new things and relearn new things.
Well, a strength taken to extreme can become a weakness. And so that laser focus can take you really far. But you just really shared something that's important, and that's flexibility, adaptability. And I'm so glad to hear that your husband, having that team, having that support system, a lot of entrepreneurs go without that. And, they may be supporting you, but they don't really understand what you go through. And it's so good that you could bounce ideas off each other, and he understands your day-to-day struggles, challenges. So when I first met you, you had the coolest product. You were looking at the manufacturing of the Puff Puff mix and some of the Afromeals spices. And we were talking about branding, all of that, and where you were going to go. And so that's how your business started. But that is not really where it ended, right? So share with me how you started with one thing and moved in a couple other different directions.
Yeah, so like you said, we started with the puff puff mix, and at the time that my husband brought me to your office, we are looking for how to scale the puff puff mix, because we got so many different like I guess hype about it, because then there was nothing available in that. So we wrote even a patent for it and stuff like that. So again, when we moved here, no, even before we moved there, I was doing a side hustle while doing my master's, where I was catering. And as I was catering, people would ask for like spices and all of that. How did you make it? Which led to recipe book. For me, when we came here, like I said, in Ohio, we didn't have that kitchen, because you have to go through all the regulatory thing with the health department and stuff. I didn't have that. One thing about me is that if I feel like there's a blockage in one area, I try to look for another area, another space, and not be stuck at that place. So if I didn't choose to start posting on Instagram and doing the recipe book and all of that, I would be stuck still trying to find a way to push the puff puff mix and then not be doing anything until that happens. So I like to always look for other ways to get the job done and not stay just fixed on one way. So let's do the puff puff mix. I'm gonna put the puff puff mix on hold right now. I'm still in food. Let me see how a recipe book can get me to another level. And then people want to learn how to cook. Let's see how I can teach them how to cook. It's still related to the puff puff mix, because that was created on the basis of making things easy. Let's teach people how to make easy recipes, easy. So that whole catchphrase of it being easy was still there, not just with the puff puff mix. And then a year later, when I now found a kitchen, I was like, okay, let's release the puff puff mix. By then, people have known my brand. They know who I am, because I used the recipe book and the food I was putting to push that. And then when I now got all the regulatory stuff in place, I brought up the puff puff mix. By then, I was teaching cooking classes. So everything just started working together.
And I love that you said brand, because I think people have to understand that you stayed within brand. And I remember us talking about it, but I said, yes, a food product, but you got to stay within the food industry, and you excelled on that. And so it is so amazing to see this scaling aspect of things, because you saw other roads that you could go down. Exactly. And like other product lines, or product extensions,
Exactly.
And that's scaling. And so tell everybody how many people you have working for you now.
So right now we have about like 10 people working for us. We're about to hire another person sometimes mid-May. We're hiring like an admin person, where the business is growing so much that like I just can't do admin, and we've been looking for an admin, and we finally found a good one. So we're excited about that. We're also hiring more chefs, more prep people, all of that stuff. So we have other chefs that are coming in to teach classes so that I won't have to be involved in doing that. So we have a lot more. We're growing every single day.
I love it. Remember, everybody, these are rock star entrepreneurs. And so you've had a lot of successes, but I'd like to know if there's one particular success that really stands out in your mind with this business.
I think one of my biggest success, I would say, starting our own cooking classes. I never thought it would be possible. Again, I started teaching cooking classes from other cooking schools that I reached out to. And it was through COVID that, they started cutting down how many chefs can come and teach. And I'm like, wow, like that means I'm going to be home. What am I going to be doing? I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start my own cooking class. Afromeals is going to start their own cooking class. And I didn't know it was going to be, I didn't even know that it will work. I started doing the advertising, pushing and all of that, and people started, I had corporate people reaching out to me. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm trying to, educate the world about African cooking, and it's important and how people need to know about it. People are going to like cooking classes that they make pasta, steak, and all of that. And we're in Ohio, where the culture bubble was not really there like that. So I'm like, would people be interested in it? And, fortunately enough, they were and they are. So people started reaching out to us by email, and then we started hosting classes for businesses, organizations. People started reaching out for catering, and I'm still in shock that like me pivoting because of COVID, to start my own thing is actually working in our favor, where now we have cooking class back to back to back to back to back. And it's been great. Yeah.
I absolutely love this.
Sorry, one last thing. That's what actually led me to be discovered by the Food Network. Because through my cooking classes and everything we've been doing in Afromeals, they reached out. They wanted me to now start writing West African recipes and Caribbean recipes for them.
Unbelievable. I love this story. Now, you said a couple things here. One, you had to pivot during COVID and you took the risk. So obviously that mindset part of you, isn't that funny how you didn't get in your ways there? I think you kind of conquered that. So, and you said you were doing businesses, and I know you've got some big businesses that have reached out to you. So share with everybody the clients that you have.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we've done Microsoft. We did Microsoft last month. We've done Procter & Gamble. We've done GE, General Electric. We've done Boy Scout. We've done Girl Scout. We've done, there's so many. We've done the bigger ones, the Fortune 500. We've done the local businesses. We've done Fifth Third Bank. I don't know if there's a Fifth Third Bank in Maryland, but there's one everywhere in Ohio. We've done University of Cincinnati. We've done Xavier. Just all the businesses around. We've either had like cooking classes with them or catering. We've done Nordic Global, which is an IT firm, and that one we've done online several times. So these companies don't just reach out to us once. Several times every year, they come back for a cooking class, catering, whatever. We also did Accenture. So we've done so many that I don't even know. I can't say it all because I need to check.
And, one thing we were talking about prior is that, you have the manufacturing of the spices and the puff mix that you started with, and you were talking about how this is like the perfect way to sell that, because you have like a captive audience who the seasoning is in the dish, right? Like they're using the seasonings in the cooking class. So what better way to buy it? It's like right there, right? Exactly. That's like brilliant. Yes, brilliant way to go.
Exactly. And every time I looked for a mentor here, I was like, oh, I need a business mentor. And every time they hear our business plan and how the business is going, it's like, oh, do you really need us? Because it's kind of like we've put things in place where like everything is feeding off of each other. You know, we don't worry about our product selling because it sells in the cooking classes. Whether it be corporate or just the public coming in, because we made sure that the food that we're cooking has all the different spices and even the puff mix present. So once people cook with it, or once people what do you call it, eat it, they are asking questions. Oh, where can I get this seasoning? And I was like, oh, we have them in
Right
Jungle
here.
Gym. Yeah, we have it right here. Or when you go to Jungle Gyms, we're also there. We're in some African grocery store. We're about to be in this store. You can find it online. So it's kind of like been feeding into each other.
And I am going to say, you will always need a coach, regardless at whatever stage you are in your company. It just gets more and more complicated, and it's always good to have a second set of eyes.
Yes.
And solutions. Yep. And
people
run your
have
problems through.
Exactly.
Right?
People have more knowledge and that's why my husband dragged me to you in Maryland, because like he has benefited from growing his business by having mentors who made millions and billions and all of that. So that's why we constantly seek mentors to help us, to kind of guide us, those who have experienced that aspect of life. So yeah, mentors are important.
And everybody out there, did you hear that? Like, you can't do this on your own. I mean, you just can't. It is so hard. So really at several points, whether it's the beginning all the way to the end and everything in the middle, you need to have support. So I love the fact that you're saying this. I've kind of pulled it out of you just a little bit. So can you give an idea of some of the marketing that you're doing, some of maybe the best practices that you're having out there? Reaching an audience besides the ones who are reaching out to you? How do you get new customers?
I wish my co-founder, my husband, was here, because he brings his IT. I'm so blessed to have an IT person as my co-founder, like especially in this AI generation where he's like, oh, how can we use AI to grow Afromeals? How can we use this to grow Afromeals? So it's kind of like he brings in that aspect of marketing and all of that. He's looking at what do you call it? Marketing through Facebook, Instagram, Google. He's looking at how do we use Google AdWords to coin certain words for people to see it. He's looking at location. How can we use location to also draw your audience? What are your target market? Who are the people who are interested in cooking classes, catering, this and that? So he brings a lot to the table, where he's constantly doing like research on how, like what he does for his business in terms of marketing is the same. I mean, well, food and IT are different, so he has to kind of like advertise them differently. So he looks into all that. Like he doesn't try to kick, and word of mouth too. He doesn't try to kick everything. So every time we're going for a cooking class or we're going for an event, he's like, where is your card? Where are your cards? Make sure that they are available. Be ready to hand them out during a cooking class. Hey, make sure people go to our Google to give us a rating, or he'll create like a barcode for people to scan. So having an IT person, or I guess having someone who has like that knowledge of IT really, really helps to grow your business, because this is the generation that we're in. Everything is online, everything is IT. So you need someone, again, maybe a mentor in that aspect also, to kind of help you or to coach you to see how you can help to promote your business in that way.
Absolutely. And I find the majority of my clients did not grow up with an iPad in their crib. Like, right? Yeah. It's not necessarily as intuitive. So you've got to find people who can really take that to the next level, or else you're not going to get your brand out there. You're not going to be able to grow. You're going to get a little bit of organic, but then you're going to hit the wall. And so you have a lot of repeat customers. And this is super important, because people spend a lot of time prospecting. In fact, 98% of budgets out there are spent trying to get a new customer. But you have customers that keep coming back and back. Yeah. And so can you share how you're nurturing them to make sure you keep retaining them? Do you have a marketing strategy for them?
Honestly, the marketing strategy that we have to do that is to treat your customers well. One thing that we also wanted to, and that's that simple, to treat your customers well, welcome them with and I'm talking from where I'm coming from, which is food and all of that hospitality. When people are doing anything relating food, hospitality has to be great. Customer service has to be awesome. I mean, they get to cook their own food. I don't, but like I'm not really stiff. I've had people come to my cooking class and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so warm, you're so nice, you make me feel at home. You're not shouting at me for not cooking something well. And I'm like, no, we're here to learn, but we're also here to have fun and learn about, the culture and stuff like that. So I would say that it's not really if you treat your customers well and you give them a great what do you call it, a great experience, they will come back to you, and then that's number one, because we know that some of the things that we wanted to make part of our value is customer service, especially from coming from the African background. Customer service is one thing that we wanted to make sure we got it right. If we don't do something right, we come together as a team. Okay, how can we improve it? Customer complaints, oh, we apologize for that, how can we make this better? But like literally also being personable. People come, sometimes I make jokes, they laugh, all of that, all of that is part of it. And also lastly, for us, creating more experiences give people back. Imagine if we only had one cooking class, they take that cooking class and that's it. But like we could keep creating and creating more of our cooking classes in different ways where people can come for a second one, a third one. Oh, we're coming with our family. What other cooking classes do you have to offer? A lot of people have asked that several times, like, oh, we have more coming, we're going to post them soon, so be on the lookout. We also, again, in terms of remarketing to them, we use all this MailChimp and all of that to remarket to our clients as well.
Absolutely. Email marketing. Well, first off, it's the most effective type of marketing you can get out there. And so that's a perfect way to keep nurturing the people you've already served. They love, I mean, if they've already fallen in love with you, Gabi, and you're giving them that experience, they want to hear from you.
Exactly.
It's not, it's like, I want to know when that next cooking class is. If she's launched a new product, I want to know about it. And so, just the sheer amount of treat them well.
Yes.
Treat them well. And it's not about you. It's not about your product. It's not even about the cooking classes. It's about them and their experience. And so you said some super valuable stuff there that I hope everybody out there, if you're listening, it's all about the customer. And I think you just really represent this beautifully. And I think that's one of the reasons you've done incredibly well. So where do you see yourself taking this company in the next year or 2 years? You just said you're going to expand some of the types of cooking classes, but do you have bigger stuff that you're thinking about?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Like I can't, like what we're even thinking is even bigger than like my brain. Because there's so many ways to pivot this business. Again, a lot of people keep reaching out to us from different states when we post on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Oh, do you have this in Atlanta? Do you have this in this place? Do you have in that? So we plan to, like, after we kind of dominate Ohio to start kind of like growing to different like neighboring states and maybe possibly franchising. We don't know. That could be a possibility. We plan on having our own line of cookware. There's just so many things that we can do. It's just so many things I don't even know how to say it all. But like we have big stuff coming up. The more cooking class we have coming up, many cooking classes, many different types of classes. We also want to be an avenue to offer jobs to people, especially like women who find themselves in my space where I couldn't do the 9 to 5,
Right.
I could only do a certain amount of time when my kids are not, supposed to be in school or whatever, because most of our cooking classes in the evening. So that kind of helped moms who still want to come to work, because by then kids are like good from like morning to 6, so they're able to kind of like also function and feel like they're doing something. So yeah, to also give back by employing people who are looking for jobs and stuff like that.
It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So words of wisdom for an entrepreneur who is maybe been doing this a while and they just quite haven't been able to reach the level that all that stuff is floating in their head too, and they're so anxious. What advice would you give them?
I would say don't give up, because as much as I'm talking about all of this and it seemed like it just happened overnight, there are times when I'm like, should I pivot to a completely different thing aside from food? When I came here, that's when like, oh, the t-shirt kind of like sell shirts and you're gonna be rich overnight, right? So I'm like,
No.
maybe I should pivot to selling t-shirts instead of focusing on the business. And my husband is like, what are you doing? Like, keep at it, because it's like starting things from the ground up is never easy. Like trying to convince people of your vision and your passion, like, hey, you're going to enjoy this, you're going to have enjoy this experience that I'm trying to create for you. It's hard to communicate that. So I would just say, don't give up and don't quit, because like if you're building something great and something that can possibly become generational so that you can pass on to your children, or
Mhm.
even if your children don't want it, if you want to sell it to another company, it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes you having to learn and unlearn, having to go back, having time to like sit down and think. There are times where from like 10 p.m. to like 4 a.m. I'm up working while everyone is sleeping, you know? So it's kind of like you have to know that it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You're not going to see that much money in your bank account when you start. But as long as you're passionate about it, keep going. And before you know it, you won't even recognize where you when you get there, you won't even recognize how you started.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, Gabby, if people want to get a hold of you, if there's a company out here who would like to hire you for your services, maybe online, nationally, how do they reach out to you?
So they can reach out to me at, well, you can go to afromeals.com. That's our website. Afromeals, that's AFROMEALS.com. Or you can email us at info@afromeals.com or Chef Gabi at afromeals.com.
Wonderful. And now they can purchase your products too on your website?
Yes, yes. And if you need help with like IT related stuff too, we have Zitios there that you can reach out to them too as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Gabby, I am so glad that you were here tonight. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to catch up. You
Yeah.
know, I remember the Puff Puff mix. I remember making it. My daughter absolutely adored it. It is a fabulous product. So everybody out there, you can still experience that African cuisine with
Right.
a really, really delicious product. So I am so thrilled for you. You just, I can't even tell you. This is your true success story, where you start out with an idea, you go through a lot of ups and downs, you have to evolve, you got to pivot, but you don't give up. And so I'm thrilled for you. So
Yeah, and I also wanted to say before we left, I thank you again for being available. I remember the first time walking to that store building, and you were there, and you were so nice and sweet, and I brought my kid along with me, and it was like, hey, I was like, I'm sorry, but you were just so understanding and patient, and you helped us, guide us. So it's like you're part of my story, and that's why like whenever you reach out to me, I'm like, sure, because you're very much part of my story. You kind of helped, like, not kind of, you helped us to kind of understand the business and understand what it is that we wanted to do. So I just want to say thank you. My husband says thank you too, and thank you for working with us. So I appreciate you.
oh my gosh, Gabby, that's the best. Like, you totally warm my heart right now. You totally have made my night, my week, I think even my year. So so I'm not going anywhere. I have a feeling I'm going to be back in your life somehow.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah.
well, I want to say thank you to you. I know you're going to be back here to give everybody an update, possibly that franchise update, because that's what I had in my head too. But we can put that to the side, but don't ever give up that long range plan. So, all right, everybody, that concludes our 5 o'clock, our Thursday session. I just have absolutely loved having Gabby here, and I've absolutely loved for you to tune in and hear about these stories. And if you'd like to be a guest on my live show, please reach out to me. goldfish@8simplesteps.net, or you can reach me on any of these social media platforms. I want to hear your story because you do have a story to share, and I have an audience who needs to hear it. Give yourself the opportunity to get your brand out there and help others along the way. All right, everybody, I will see you next week. And thanks you again, Gabi.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.